The stars outside the viewport stretched into silver threads as the USS Horizon entered slipstream. For weeks, the vessel had been patrolling the contested border between human and alien territory, a fragile region where truces were as thin as glass. Lieutenant Commander Daniel Raines had been running on fumes. Between constant alerts, fractured negotiations with alien patrols, and sleepless nights replaying the war he had survived, rest was a stranger. When he finally let his head sink into the narrow bunk of his quarters, the silence of deep space folded around him like a blanket. Sleep came heavy, but when Daniel stirred hours later, groggy and disoriented, his hand brushed against something warm. He froze. Slowly, cautiously, he turned his head. There, lying next to him on the bunk, her breathing steady, her form unmistakably alien, was a woman. Her skin shimmered faintly, like moonlight reflecting off water. Her hair, or what looked like hair, floated as though it resisted gravity, strands shifting in hues of pale silver and lavender. She wore no uniform he recognized, only a soft garment that resembled woven starlight. Her features were sharp yet delicate, a beauty strange and disarming. Daniel's heart raced. He had spent years in combat against alien species, never imagining he'd wake to find one sleeping beside him. "Computer," he whispered hoarsely. "Identify intruder." The computer hummed, then responded flatly. "No intruder detected." Daniel blinked. That was impossible. Before he could move, the woman stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, vast, luminous, with pupils that shifted like liquid silver. She looked at him with an expression that was neither fear nor hostility, but something he could not yet name. "Human," she said softly, her voice carrying an echo as though layered across dimensions. "You're awake." Daniel sat up, adrenaline surging. "Who are you? How did you get in here?" She tilted her head, as though puzzled by his panic. "You called me," she said simply. "I what?" Her lips curved faintly, almost a smile. "You dreamed. I followed." Middle. Her name was Lysera, and though her origins were shrouded in mystery, Daniel soon realized she was not an ordinary alien intruder. She claimed to belong to a race the humans had never formally encountered, a species that traveled not by ships, but by currents of thought and dream. They were called the Erythri, known in scattered myths across space as the dreamwalkers. Daniel didn't believe her at first. He demanded explanations, called for security, but each time the computer registered no anomaly. To everyone else, his quarters were empty. Only he could see her, touch her, hear her. "I'm losing my mind," he muttered. "No," Lysera replied calmly, as though reading his thoughts. "You are simply open. Many humans are closed, their minds sealed in iron. But you dream in color." Days turned to weeks, and she did not leave. At first, Daniel resisted her presence. He told himself she was a hallucination born of exhaustion. But she was too real. She walked with him when he paced his quarters. She asked questions about Earth, about oceans and skies and music. And at night, when sleep claimed him again, she was there, sometimes resting at his side, sometimes guiding him through vast dreamscapes where the stars bent and whispered. Slowly, the fear ebbed. What replaced it was stranger, curiosity, and a warmth he had not felt in years. One night, as the ship glided silently through void, Daniel asked, "Why me? Out of billions of humans, why appear in my bed?" Lysera tilted her head in thought. "Because you looked at the stars and longed. You wanted connection more than conquest. The dream called to me." Daniel scoffed lightly. "So, you're saying this is fate?" Her eyes shimmered. "Not fate. Choice." I chose to answer. But not everyone was blind to her presence. Though the crew could not see Lysera, the ship itself began to change. Lights flickered, corridors hummed with faint harmonics, and Daniel's dreams sometimes spilled into reality, hallways turning into endless forests, stars shifting into unfamiliar constellations. The captain grew suspicious. "Lieutenant Commander," he warned, "something is interfering with the Horizon systems. If you know anything, now is the time." Daniel said nothing. How could he explain? That night, Lysera stood at the viewport, gazing into the star-smeared void. "Your people fear what they cannot name," she said softly. "They've been at war for decades," Daniel replied. "Fear kept us alive." "And yet fear also binds you," she whispered. "Tell me, Daniel, do you fear me?" He hesitated. She was alien. She had appeared in his most vulnerable state unbidden. And yet his heart no longer clenched when she drew close. "No," he admitted finally. She smiled, and the cabin lights seemed to brighten. The bond between them deepened. Daniel found himself looking forward to the quiet moments when Lysera would curl at his side, or when she would guide him into dreams of breathtaking worlds untouched by war. He learned that the Erythrae existed across layers of reality, rarely revealing themselves. Contact with a human was forbidden. "Then why risk it?" he asked her one night. Her gaze lingered on him. "Because even among my people, I was alone. Until you." Climax. Their fragile sanctuary shattered when the Horizon was ambushed at the edge of a nebula. Raiders, mercenaries from a hostile alien faction, descended on the ship, crippling its defenses. Explosions rocked the hull, alarms screamed, and chaos consumed the corridors. Daniel rushed to the bridge, but Lysera followed. No one else could see her, yet her presence steadied him. "You will not survive this battle," she warned quietly. "Not unless I act." "What do you mean?" "My kind, we can touch the dream that binds reality. If I open the veil fully, I can shield your vessel." "But the price," she faltered. Daniel grabbed her hand. "What price?" "If I reveal myself, my people will know. They will come for me. I may never return to you." The ship shook violently, sparks raining from the ceiling. Daniel's chest tightened. He could order her to do nothing, keep her safe, and likely watch his crew die. Or he could let her sacrifice everything. His voice was low, fierce. "Lysera, do it." She looked at him with sorrow and tenderness. Then she leaned close, her forehead touching his. "Then remember me, Daniel Rains. Remember the dream." Her form blazed with light. The horizon shuddered, but instead of tearing apart, the ship was wrapped in a shimmering cocoon. Enemy weapons fizzled uselessly against it. The crew stared in awe as the raiders, confused and terrified, broke formation and fled. And then, just as suddenly, the cocoon dissolved. Lysera was gone. Ending. In the days that followed, the Horizon limped back to human-controlled space. The crew hailed it as a miracle. The captain filed it as unknown phenomena. But Daniel knew the truth. At night, in the silence of his quarters, he reached across the bunk, half expecting to feel her warmth again. Only emptiness remained. Weeks later, he dreamed. He was standing in a field of endless silver grass, the sky painted with shifting auroras. And there she was, Lysera, her hair flowing like liquid starlight, her eyes luminous with unspoken emotion. "Daniel," she whispered. He reached for her, but his hand passed through like mist. "You kept your word," she said, her voice trembling. "You remembered." "Always," he said. His chest ached. "Will I see you again?"